Hey guys, how's it going? This is going to be pretty cool because we have a live stream going on both YouTube and Facebook. And this is my first time here in Roman's group. So basically today we're going to be talking about kind of the job opportunities that exist in the software development world. We're going to be talking even about what programming language you should start off with. We'll talk about what are some of the first things you should prioritize in order to get real hands-on experience and work. Okay? And then I'll be taking your guys' questions along the way. Cool? Cool. All right. Awesome. We got a bunch of people coming in on YouTube. We got a bunch of people on Facebook. I can't see the comments on Facebook. I'm going to click here. Okay. I'm going to try to figure out how I can see the comments so then I can answer your guys' questions along the way. Yep. Sharon, this has started. Let me refresh here. This live stream stuff always a little bit finicky. We're going to wait for a few more people to come in as well. Okay, cool. All right. There we go. Okay, so when did you guys kind of start coding? Give me a sense of it. So on Facebook, we have a new audience that's kind of just getting to know me. On YouTube, you guys know me already. Maybe some of you guys are new. So why don't you guys tell me kind of how long have you been coding for? When did you start programming? It'll just be you and I'm going to take on your questions and answer them live if I can see your questions. So that's what I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, okay, cool. All right, Roman just sent me the link to the live. Ooh, nice. Okay. No feedback, please. Mute. Okay. All right, beautiful. Okay, now I can see all your guys' comments. Perfect. All right, so great. Some people said 4 years. George, he says, I started 5 years ago. Let me look over on what's going on. What's the story on YouTube? This is cool. I got 2 things opened up here. Last year, some people started in the university. Cool. So ultimately, it really doesn't matter how long have you been coding for, when you kind of started, how much experience you have. Obviously, if you have a lot of experience, it's really good, right? But if you're starting out now, that's totally fine as well, because in my live webinar tomorrow, which is like my live masterclass, I really talk about the differences between a broke programmer versus a profitable programmer. And one of the key things you'll recognize that I'll explain is that the difference isn't necessarily the experience or even the skills. So, I'm going to kind of go into that a little bit more tomorrow. But, first of all, I just want to talk about the kind of the job opportunities that exist for software development. That's where I kind of think the world is headed. Literally everything is being run on software, from this live stream to Facebook itself to Instagram and all of that, right? Now let me ask you guys, what programming language are you guys using? Ooh, some people started a week ago. 20 years ago, great. 20 years ago, nice. Lots of experience. Okay, PHP, Java, that's great. So, one of the programming languages that I use and I teach at Clever Programmer a lot is Python. And the reason why I kind of teach that is because it's at the intersection of, one being one of the easiest programming languages, two being one of the most popular and trending languages, and also it's a multi-purpose and a pretty high paying programming language, right? There's a lot of demand for it. So in the start, it doesn't matter so much what language you choose because, again, it's mostly about what ideas you have in here and how you can bring them to reality, right? And what value you can bring to other people with your skills. That's really the key. But what I advise is if you're starting out, you're brand new, right? Pick something that's simpler, but it's also powerful, right? Because with Python, Google was built off of Python, right? This is something I talk about all the time, but I know there's a lot of new people. So, Google was built off of Python. Instagram was built off of Python. Reddit was built off of Python, right? So lots of big powerhouses are actually being powered by Python. And I'm not saying that it's more powerful than other languages. I'm just saying that not only is it an easy language, but you can scale it, right? And have a future in it if you were to start right now and then go further. But if you started off with JavaScript and you're already getting experience in it, then stick with it. Stick with one programming language because what's really important are the concepts, not necessarily the specific programming language syntax, right? The specific way you like write a squiggly or a bracket and you close a function, open a function, like all of those things, like lexical closures and all this fancy stuff that you get into. That's not a huge deal. The first thing you have to do is just wrap your mind around how this works. And this webinar is mostly for beginners, okay? So I'm going to be explaining lots of things to people who are kind of starting out. That's my main focus. And people also who are looking to switch into the programming field, or you're just trying to figure out how you can start using programming to start getting clients or where to even look for work, things of that nature. All right, so some people are asking me, how long do you spend on coding? How long? Somebody says you have a sexy voice. Thank you very much. It was a great compliment. 111 people. 100 people on YouTube and 111 people on Facebook. Cool. This is awesome. This is weird. Facebook is almost beating my YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Let's kick it up a notch. All right. So how long do I spend every day on coding, programming? It depends. I was spending about 15 hours to 20 hours a day when I was picking it up. That was one of the ways where I was able to pick it up in less than 3 months. A lot of people go crazy. They're like, you can't pick it up in 3 months. It takes 25 years and like a boatload of experience and all that. And yes, I mean, of course, to become a really high level professional, become really skilled, that's how long it will take you. But to say that you can't actually get work, to say that you can't actually start earning an income and making a living off of it, that's just BS, because one of my biggest problems, one of the reasons why I started this channel is that everybody always makes it seem like to break into this industry, you have to have like 10 years of experience or you have to have so much knowledge and all of that, right? So not necessarily true. My background, pretty weak in math. I worked hard in math then to kind of make up for it, but still, like, math is not my forte. I'm not necessarily like, a genius, but I just spent a lot of time working on it. And it's kind of just like, you pick up swimming and then it becomes natural to you. Programming is kind of like that too. I just did it a lot and then it became a way that I was able to think in it. But what's more important are the skills that are around programming. The skills of how do you market yourself? How do you position yourself? How do you stand out from the crowd? And how are you able to get work? Those are the skills that ultimately really, really matter. Obviously, your actual skills in coding matter as well, because if you can't do programming, then nobody's going to hire you, right? But to get work, to get entry-level work, to get junior developer level work, or even to work as a freelancer, right, and get clients, that's not hard and doesn't necessarily always require like 3 years of experience for in like entry-level job. Okay. All right. So this is great. A lot of people on the channel I Love Programming have lots of experience. You guys are very experienced. This is really great. And you guys have experience with multiple different languages. So that's another thing I want to kind of expound on. If you pick one language, that doesn't mean that you're kind of stuck with that language, right? If you, let's say, start off with JavaScript, or let's say you start off with C#, it doesn't mean for the rest of your life you're a C# developer or a JavaScript developer. That just means, that's what you kind of started off with, and you could choose to just pursue that one language or then kind of branch out. Like, for example, I'm huge on Python. I just think it's the best one to start off with, and most of the top universities agree. UC Berkeley and MIT and all of them are switching over to starting people off with Python. And they don't do it based off of feelings. They do it with statistics and facts, and they figure out that students just get better results when they start off with a language that doesn't necessarily get in their way. It just lets you implement your ideas at a very fast speed, right? So you're not held down by the syntax. You just kind of get going. You're very productive. But let's say then after you get those core concepts and you want to transition, then you can switch over to another language. So for example, let's say you want to do web development with Python, right? You start off with Python, you've experience in it, now you can pick up JavaScript. And then, use a framework like Flask or Django. And now you have to learn HTML, CSS, and you kind of, work with them together. Okay, so don't necessarily think that you're stuck with one, but I do think that the first language you choose is important, and I also think it's important to kind of stick with it to get the concepts down. Yes, being familiar with Linux will of course be an advantage. Being familiar with the command line will be an advantage. So, if you get extra time, work with those things. That's why what I suggest all the time is, especially I see a lot of beginners, they want to just use some big fancy, they're called IDEs. So they want to use just some big fancy tool to run their code for them, but they don't understand how it's actually running. So I always recommend to use the command line as much as you can. Like stick with the command line. That ugly looking black screen that has code like Matrix? Use that to get stuff done, because you'll improve your skills a lot faster. And I realize there's the audience we have right now. You guys, some of you guys are you have a lot of experience, and some of you guys are just starting out. So I'm trying to meet you halfway. I don't want to use I'm trying to meet you halfway, but my focus again is on people who are kind of starting out and want to get that breakthrough. Yeah, Ruby on Rails and all of those things are good skills to learn. But what I recommend again is, focus on one language, whatever it is that you pick up, go hard on it, right? Just focus on one thing and then improve your skills in that one thing for a while. For getting actual work, it's not that hard. It's good to do programming problems and exercises to improve your skills and go through the academic route, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's kind of good to do that. You get your feet wet, but focus on project-based learning. So where you can actually go and get real world projects that represent what you do in real world. So instead of, if you have a choice of making a factorial problem versus, a choice of doing a project that's like a web app, I would say try to choose the web app, because at the end of the day, you have something to show for it and you have real world experience. Whereas you do the factorial problem, you really don't have anything to show for it. And I have done the more technical things my whole, career. Like when I was starting out, that's kind of what I did. Just started off doing very, just hardcore stuff, in the command line all the time, doing programming problems like factorials and whatever, right? Those problems that you get on Project Euler, HackerRank. I was doing all of that. But then at the end of the day, what I would realize is that I didn't have a portfolio that I could show people. So some of the resources I want to give you guys that are excellent and are free, I suggest you write them down. Like literally have a pen and pencil next to you and write these down, because these were some of the things that helped me become, a software consultant in less than 3 months. Like I went from knowing nothing about programming to knowing enough where I was proficient and I was actually working with clients, making enough money to replace my job that I was doing, right? And then after that allowed me to just kind of break through and break into this field. So some of the resources I want to give you, they're all free. So one of them is Coursera, right? Some of you guys might know it. Some of you guys may not. It's spelled Coursera. If some of you guys know it, write it down in chat so other people could see how it's spelled. Another great resource is Udacity. Okay, that's 2. So just for now, just write these down. You don't have to actually open up the tab, because what I'm trying to share with you guys is, might be actually really important for you. So just save this for now, so then you can go to it later. Udacity is great. If something is covered on Udacity, you generally don't need to go to another one to cover it. You can just kind of cover it from there. Udemy is pretty good, but generally I try to stick with Udacity and Coursera, because Udemy is generally just like one guy in his basement, making the video so he can make some profit on the side. Some courses are really good, but most of them are just they're just kind of weird. There's very low production quality, and also the material they're teaching, and there are a lot of the times there's a lot of sacrifices that they make just so they can bust out and get that entire course kind of done. But have Udemy definitely at the back of your head in the list, and then you can go to these resources and learn from them for free. Another one is edX, EDX. Okay, so that's a really good one you can try out. Thank you guys for writing this down. Okay. Cool, we got lots of people. Yeah, and so and for you guys who don't know me, I'm the CEO, founder of Clever Programmer. It now is a entire company. It kind of just started off with me, and I was just like, I want to teach people programming, because how they're teaching it in schools, they kind of screw a lot of people over, and I saw lots of my friends quit programming or software development, but it wasn't because they thought programming or whatever sucks. It was just that they thought they weren't being taught it the right way. Or at least they didn't know that, but I would see that and I would know, because the first week the professor would give them Hello World, and the next week they would be doing some ginormous project. And then I saw other people quit because for years and years they just did theoretical crap, then they got graduated, and then they didn't have real skills to actually get a job. Like, what's the whole point of going through college and putting in all this tremendous amount of effort, doing all this theoretical stuff, that when you get out, nobody sees you as somebody who's able to help them or skilled or practical. They just see you as this weird esoteric theoretician, right? So even if you're going to college, keep going, but just understand that being practical versus just theoretical are very two different things. One will keep you a profitable programmer, and the other one will keep you a broke, really educated programmer. So you want to be kind of balanced, right? Not just go crazy on one side, So that was one of the reasons why I actually made the Clever Programmer channel, so I could share how to actually, transition from because nobody shares this stuff, right? They only share technical programming, software development stuff, but they're not necessarily sharing how do you take your technical skills, how do you approach a client, where do you find a client, how do you actually get a job even if you have no experience, how do you actually make that transition from your current job, right? What if you have a current job right now? How do you actually find time to start coding in a realistic way and then make that transition as fast as possible where you start earning income with programming? Like, they take the money in, but they're not working to put the money back in your pocket, right? So not to say that the courses aren't great, it's just that they aren't teaching you skills that are very important for you to become profitable or earn a living with programming, and actually be successful in it, right? Like one of my mentors, this is a story I sent out in an email today. One of my mentors, and this guy always wore this like ugly blue hoodie, and he was a phenomenal coder, unbelievable programmer. He was programming since he was like 4. He would literally only work with me for that hour that he was paid, right? When in my earlier days when I wanted to pick up programming, I hired him so he could tutor me. So I would go to my other job, and any money that I got, I would spend it to kind of increase my programming skills. I would learn on my own, and then I hired this tutor or mentor or coach. He literally only worked with me within that 1 hour, and then after the second that hour was over, that was it. He stopped. Anytime I asked him about technologies that were outside of his scope, or that he didn't know or he didn't cover, he would just tell me like, no, I can't help you with that. Anytime I asked him about advice, he would say things like, do what's best for you, right? So I wanted to know, should I keep pursuing my college, or should I focus more on getting clients, or how can I even get more clients? And I never really got any real help that was useful. But then later on, I got a much better mentor who I even paid more, and he didn't start coding since he was 5. But he was very profitable. He was earning more than 10 times what my previous mentor or my previous coach was making. So this kind of goes to show you that, yes, experience is really important, but there are a lot of soft skills that are important. But, it's one thing to learn only the technical skills for programming from one place, only the soft skills from a completely another place, and then having to do the guesswork on your own. What I'm trying to do is take that away from you and just show you them together, like building your technical skills alongside your soft skills so you can start, getting clients, getting work, having something to show for what you're doing. More of this is going to be covered if you guys are on the Facebook page or if you're on the YouTube. In the link below, I have my masterclass. So that's going to be covered in that as well. I go a lot more in depth about all of this stuff. Okay, so how do you actually go about getting a client? Where can you start today? Even better resources that you guys can start using, because there's a lot beneath the surface that goes on. And it's a free masterclass. So you join it, you watch it, then those skills you can actually apply right away, right? I even show you like some of the places where you can actually go to apply today to start like earning income. Like one of the places I'll tell you right now is called Upwork. Okay, so some of you guys might know it. And if you go there and you literally type in Python or Python jobs, or anything else, JavaScript or whatever. But my focus is teaching people Python, but mostly I'm focused on teaching you the principles and, like what it actually takes to create those apps, what you need to think about, and actually how to deal with clients. Then you could take that and apply it to other things like JavaScript or whatever you want to kind of pursue. So that's kind of what's covered in all of in the entire webinar that we're going to be talking about tomorrow as well. Somebody says, how about Udacity? Udacity is really good. That's what I was saying. Like Udacity is unbelievable. So if you have the option to learn something from Udacity first, you should go there first. That would be great. All right. Somebody says, let's see, looking at some questions. Like my big thing is not necessarily always get a job and then just work there 9 to 5. I'm pretty big on having clients, being able to choose my own hours, being able to work remotely, even having the ability to fire your clients. That's a great feeling when somebody's just being a pain in the ass. You have the ability to do that. But you can take those skills, and if your goal is to then apply and become a software developer full-time job, you can certainly use those to do that as well. Yeah, so Tim Sullivan asks Team Treehouse. Team Treehouse is a great resource. That is one of the resources I personally haven't used that much, but I know that it's really good. One of my best friends, who's also now a developer, he uses Team Treehouse, so definitely one of the resources to check out. And you other guys who never heard of it, write it down, because what's really important is for you to find that right person that clicks with you, or that right teacher, right mentor, right website, whatever it is. Because sometimes, what works for me might not work for you. So you might go through all these 5 or 6 different free resources I just shared with you, and you might find out that one of them is your favorite, and it might not be Udacity. Udacity was my favorite. And then just use that to kind of like pick up those skills and, improve them and kind of get better at it. The New Boston, at least in early stage. Yeah, the New Boston is a good resource to go to. I used to look at a bunch of his tutorials, but again, what's missing is like, okay, great, I make all these little games and text programming, text-based games, and he shows you how to play with Tkinter and Python framework, but I don't see the connection between that and where to actually go to get clients. So then, and how do I use what you've shown me in my portfolio? Because in my free, even in my free Python courses, I show you how you can actually take what you're learning, even throughout the free course, and just like start applying it to your portfolio, so you can actually start working towards getting clients, getting work. I try to keep it applicable to that sense. But definitely, if you are not interested in looking for those soft skills and you just want to get those technical skills, the New Boston is a really cool, fun guy. He's very calm. He has a very fun style to teach, unlike most other people who are just like, it just seems like they're bored to death. And I'm thinking, how could you be bored to death? This is one of those fields where you literally get to create whatever you want. Like the first time I got paid to do computer programming, I thought it was like a glitch. I'm like, are they seriously paying me for, it's almost like playing a video game. And it's like, I'm just getting to create whatever I want, whatever ideas I have in my head. And they were paying me for that. And I'm almost thinking, is somebody going to catch on to this? And are they going to stop paying me at some point? And to this day, I think that. Because it's honestly incredibly fun, because you are creating whatever the hell you want. And so I never understand, like, it's your ideas in your brain, and then you put them, and now they're scalable to millions of people. Imagine, this game on iPhone. It's called Dancing Line. If you don't have it, get this game. Unbelievable game. Okay, you can download it for free. It's called Dancing Line. Somebody knows about it, type it in the comments so other people can know what it is. Literally one of the most fun games ever. Some developers had an idea. They wanted to make this thing. They put it together, and now and it was good. People liked it. And it's solving a problem for millions of people. That's what I love about software development. It's not just you get to do fun work, but it's really meaningful and impactful work that's changing the lives of hundreds, thousands, or millions of people. That's what I kind of like about it. You find a problem in, let's say, the world of fitness, right? You create a solution, and now it's scalable all of a sudden to millions of people, and they have it on their Android and on their Apple phones. You create a solution for, nutrition, and all of a sudden everybody has it. You create something for solving an illness, or, a wiki for knowledge, and all of a sudden everybody has it. Or web apps, even web apps like Instagram, and even like random stuff, whatever ideas you have, a gaming app. Like for example, I used to play FIFA a lot. It's a soccer game, and my brothers and I, we would always try to create these World Cups. So, you go in the quarter finals, and then you go into semifinals, and then you go into finals. But FIFA didn't really have that to play with your friends or your brothers or whatever in a nice way. And so then I coded up a web app that did that. And then it randomly selects teams for you. It randomly puts you, and when you click on which team you want, and then you put in the scores and who won, it automatically, moves the right teams to the quarterfinal stage, to the semifinal stage, and to the final stage. Like, that's pretty exciting. I was pretty excited that you could just literally take what's here and just make it a reality. The ways to finding tech jobs, yeah, they're pretty similar in most countries. Here's why. People get too caught up in the minutia, like the syntax of the code or the technical stuff. Like, oh, the application thing is not the same, or like a few processes are different. But mostly the idea of getting work is pretty simple. Some people, even somebody like James Altucher, who has like started 20 different companies. He's a software developer, founder of so many companies, and he's a pretty unbelievable guy. If you don't follow him, follow James Altucher. But he says that your ability to get work is directly proportional or whatever to your ability of getting coffee with somebody. So there's a lot of, it's not like you're trying to trick people, but people want to work with people they like. And so there's a lot of soft skills and social skills involved that people don't teach together with the concept of programming, right? So programming is one aspect, and then you have this whole other aspect of how to get good at jobs, how to get good at interviews, and what specific things you need. This was, for example, in your high school, when you're taking those college ACTs, the way to score better on your in your high school ACT, which is the standard test in the United States they use to kind of test your intelligence, is not necessarily based on how smart you are, but it's based on your skill of taking that test. So the way to get good at that test is actually to take that test more and more times. Even though it's used to test your intelligence, the way you get good at it is by taking that test and not necessarily by being smarter. So that is pretty similar to the real world, where becoming a good programmer is not necessarily the same thing as getting good at getting good jobs or getting good work or getting good clients or knowing where to find clients and knowing how to keep a long-term relationship with clients, knowing how to save a client from leaving, all of that. And I use the term client a lot because, I'm a huge follower of John Sonmez. And one of the key things that he says that I agree with a lot is that even the people who hire you, think of them as just like one client. You're just getting a lot of work from that one client, right? Which is your employer. So yeah, there you go. I answered it. All right. I'm looking over some questions. Okay, so, again, all of this stuff and much more will be covered in a lot more depth in that live training. So if you're here, literally stop, go click that link and sign up for it. If this is something you're even mildly interested in, I promise you it could change your life, because we're going to be covering a ton of stuff in there. How do you learn to code in less than 3 months? Even more software resources that you can use that are free. Literally how you can start finding work. What are some of the best things you can start doing to combine your programming skills so you can start getting work. All of those things get covered in a lot more detail. And I'll also tell you my story of exactly how I was able to achieve those results in such a short amount of time. So you could steal literally that and try to repeat it. Oh, is the link not there on the Facebook one? No worries. I am sending Roman the link, and he should maybe put it up. All right. Sorry about that. I think I didn't have the link here the whole time on the Facebook page. So I'm going to go put that up right now. Okay. I think the link should be there. Everybody who's on Facebook, let me know if that link is there. Gonna refresh again. Everybody who's on YouTube, you guys see that link, right? And if you guys signed up, let me know in the comments section you signed up. I'm super excited about tomorrow. I think it's gonna be pretty damn cool. Somebody says, will the OOP course, I'm also going to talk about my Create Apps with Python course and helping you land your first client. That's one of the bigger goals. Join, cool. Thank you for sharing that, Roman. Yep, okay, cool. So that thing is there. It's kind of resolved. Yeah, so everybody who's on YouTube, go click on that link, sign up on it. And if you're on Facebook, go ahead, click on that link. And if you've joined, let us know. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, beautiful. Said Robley signed up. Awesome. Zulvo signed up. Beautiful. I'll take on more questions in the meantime from people. Tim Sullivan asks, I know Java and C++. And guys, if you guys come to this, it's not necessarily strictly related to Python or like a specific tool or whatever. So if you come to this live webinar, you'll pick up stuff that you can use immediately in your life right after leaving it. That means even if you are using some different programming languages or certain different tools. All right, let's see. What are some of the other questions? Beautiful. Uksat says signed up. Great, signed up. To sign up for the live masterclass that I'm doing tomorrow, it's $0. It's free. Okay, it's free. The link is in the description, so you can go there. Currently I'm working with Clever Programmer, building up this entire brand. Most of my work was just working with, consulting and making software for lots of different people. And now my main focus is Clever Programmer. We have over 2 million viewers. We have 20,000 plus students enrolled in our programs, and those numbers are just going insane. Actually, now 27,000 people enrolled in our programs. Let's see, YouTube subscribers, 50,000 YouTube subscribers. And it started about 6 or 7 months ago. So it's really kind of taking off. I started it when I was doing work, going to college, with everything else that I was doing. I was doing like 4 or 5 different jobs, and so I literally had maybe 1 or 2 hours to spare every day. And in that time, I would make the YouTube videos for Clever Programmer, for Python programming, or even like some videos I think I've made on SQL, and just general soft skills as well in those times to kind of build it up. And then after it kind of became a big thing, I'm just focusing on it the entire time. Now we have a team of developers at Clever Programmer that I've actually hired, and that work on this team. We have marketing development reps. We have we have a big team of people that helps make courses, people who are editing these videos as well. So now all our focus is making the courses, making videos on programming, because there's just a big need for this. So that's where most of the focus is at this point. But I still do software development, mostly for fun, and then some of the clients I still work with. Okay. Rob says that's very awesome. Great. Okay, great. Some people have joined. Who has joined? Roman joined. Nice. Good job, Roman. Rob, thank you for putting that in the chat so everybody could see exactly what were kind of most of the places that I mentioned today. Aksad says, you look sexy. Nice. Somebody earlier said my voice is sexy. Now somebody says you look sexy. All right. Yeah, I've been, because I get to work on my own time and with my own clients, mostly now I've been focusing on learning jiu-jitsu, learning Muay Thai, boxing, lifting, and then besides that, just spending time with my family and friends. So I'm probably going to be traveling to California in a few weeks. And then the rest of, and then also most of my time is spent on just working on Clever Programmer pretty much the entire time. That's one of my biggest focus. Hey man, is it great to go with Django because I'm a Python guy? Ashik says, yeah, it's Django is an awesome framework for Python. So for example, if you guys don't know Django, some people who do JavaScript, they have frameworks like Node.js. So Python has frameworks such as Flask and Django. So my future courses are actually going to cover Flask and Django in a lot of depth. And this course that's coming out touches a little bit on Flask, but mostly it focuses on helping you start making money with Python in as little as 30 days. So that's one of my focuses of this new course that I'm going to be releasing in 2 days. It gets launched. Actually, if you join the webinar, it gets launched tomorrow. And you get an early bird discount. So this is a course that's focusing on not only Python, but then immediately just like how do you actually get work and start getting a return on your investment. But all my other courses are free. And I have 160 videos on YouTube for training. So if you just want to learn technical skills and you want to learn how to be proficient in programming, and especially if you're kind of new to programming, new, when I say new, you've been doing it for maybe a few months, that would be the perfect start for you. But if you have already been programming for a few years, then those courses aren't going to be that helpful for you. But the videos on getting clients, finding work, those are going to be really helpful for you. And if you have experience, start applying on places like Upwork. There are literally so many jobs. Just type in Python jobs, JavaScript jobs, whatever, and you get all these little nugget-like projects. So in my course, I try to have you do those types of projects so then you can actually immediately apply to places and start getting work that you can start putting on your portfolio. But if you already have experience, you can start doing that now without necessarily having to take the course or whatever. The name of my YouTube channel is Clever Programmer. Somebody wants to write that down in the description or in the chat. Go ahead, do that. I will love you. I will love your face forever. Can we build a cryptocurrency blockchain? I wish. I wish I was that smart. Holy crap, that would be unbelievable. Okay, YouTube is now dominating Facebook. Like we have twice the number of people on YouTube. Everybody who's on YouTube and everybody who's on Facebook, if you have loved this so far, love this. If you didn't love it, then don't sign up for the thing, right? But if you enjoyed it, you got at least some value out of it, something that you found that was useful, go click on that link and sign up for that damn masterclass, right? That's where I want to see you. It takes place tomorrow, not 2 days from now, whatever. It's live. It only happens once. Takes place tomorrow. I'll be sharing some amazing secrets with you guys there as well. And you lose nothing, and everything that you take away from it is applicable right away. Okay? It's 1 hour long. Happens at 12 p.m. Chicago time tomorrow. So click on that link and sign up. Beautiful. Michael says, Kishore says site is down. Really? Cleverprogrammer.com. Can anybody confirm if the site is down? That's scary. No, I just went to cleverprogrammer.com. That doesn't look down. I'll try the other one. You lying to me? Let's see. Ha! LCYRO says, where's your friend Tenzin? Wow, you know my friends, huh, by name. He's not here. He's slacking. I hope you're watching this, Tenzin. Gotta make those YouTube videos, man. It just takes a lot of you just have to be consistent and show up every day. That's what it takes. Building up this channel, a lot of people are like, oh, an overnight success. Well, not really. I literally gave up my life for the longest time, spent 20-hour days working in the office. I got this office. I told this story yesterday, but I'll tell it again. So here's the story. I wanted to focus on this, but the best way to focus is if you don't have a choice, right? If you have choices, then you'll be lazy, you'll procrastinate, you'll be like, oh, the paper is due a month from now, I'll just wait till the last day. I won't do it today. Today I'll just watch some cat videos. I was already very motivated to get Clever Programmer and this channel going. But I thought, what if I kick it into higher gear, right? And go in survival mode. So what I did is I stopped working with all of the clients that I was working with, gave up actually the job that I was doing, cut all my sources of income, got this office, so there was an additional expense that I actually had to cover. And what happens when you're in such a dire survival mode, your brain gets a very creative, right? And you become very creative and your work ethic is there. And so then that allowed me to actually just focus and go crazy on building this entire channel, building this entire, now it's like a revolution. It's not just a channel anymore. But because before it was just like, okay, it's just me putting videos. And now it's all you guys, that are part of this, right? And lots of people are getting amazing results. So that is what kept me going. And I just decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to go kind of hard into it. That's just how I think a lot of the times. Okay, sites up. Great. All right, awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to start going in a little bit. IRC room. Nice. Okay, everybody on Facebook, everybody on YouTube, again, you're enjoying this, click on that link, sign up for that thing. I really want to see you guys tomorrow. Okay, I want you guys to be there tomorrow. Caleb, yes, I will do a vlog. I've been thinking about that because there's just too much stuff that I'm doing that's not only programming related and it's fun. So I want to share that with you as well. Though you and I here are going to talk about programming, stick to that. But, I would want to start that. How long have I been programming? About 2 years now. 2-3 years. So actually not that long. Yeah. But just to put it in perspective, my rate's about like 5 times or more higher than the mentor that I was working with, who had 20 years of experience when I started. So I don't know if that puts it in perspective. All right. Yeah, the webinar is tomorrow, 12 Chicago time. Tim is asking lots of good questions, but I don't want to just keep answering Tim's questions. I want to also look at some other questions, looking for other questions. Okay, I'm going to answer Tim's question, I guess. Tim says, what is a framework in a language? Framework is just something that makes your life simpler. For example, English is a framework to express your thoughts, language, emotions, and feelings, right? You can still express your emotions to me by just going, "Arr, arr." But in English, you could just be like, I really don't like you right now. I want to kind of shoot you in the face, get away from here. It's a framework that helps you kind of put things into perspective. So in programming, you could think of it like that. It's a framework that frameworks make your life easier. When there are lots of repeatable tasks, framework kind of take care of that because they know it's going to happen all the time. One example, okay? And it might be an example, I'm going to say at the risk of maybe some of you guys who are starting out might not know this, but when you're doing web development, you always have to kind of run a server. Instead of writing your own server all the time, it's obvious that you need to be running kind of a server. Flask just kind of comes built in with that logic of a server. So then you don't have to kind of write your own thing. Node.js does the same thing. It has lots of built-in default intelligent things. So that's really a framework. Okay. Hopefully that explains it. All right. AP regex. How important is regex? How often will it be used? It really depends what you do. If you're doing web development, maybe it's not that important. It'll help you. It'll make you faster, but your work won't be critically stuck on it. But if you're doing lots of text analysis, data parsing, all that, then you should be good with regex. Regex stands for regular expressions. Regular expressions mean you can find patterns in a text. Weird example. Maybe it doesn't even make that much sense. But what are the best ways to explain it? For example, if you did Control F right now and you try to find for some word and you try to differentiate between a Python with a capital P versus Python with a small p, that's kind of hard to do. But if you're in Word document or something, you can click on case sensitive, right? But what if you want to find a specific pattern that has Python followed by a number after it, Python 1, Python 2. Now you can start using regex that only looks for the word Python followed by some numbers after it and any numbers. And then it can highlight that and catch that and whatever. Esoteric example, it's one of those things that you kind of just have to look at a bunch of examples, and then it starts making sense. It's used a lot of the times when somebody gives you their email address. So if somebody gives you their email address, you can use regex to figure out what's before the @ sign and then what's the domain after the @ sign. So, or if somebody gives you their phone number, it has parentheses around it, right? So think about this. When you're filling out an application online and you're putting in a phone number, sometimes you might be wondering, should I put the parentheses around it? Should I put the hyphens in it? What if the computer reads those hyphens and get confused? What if it's, thinks it's something else? But no matter how you put the number, the computer automatically parses through it and understands what the actual number is. And they're using regex there as well. Okay, hopefully that kind of answers it. Mark says, why don't I get your email? I think you should have gotten my email now. Well, but explain to me why were you expecting to get an email from me? So then if there's something wrong on my end, I can fix it and I'll manually send you an email. Kishore, thank you. For all Indian guys or all Indian girls, everybody's welcome. Okay, girl, guys, everybody's welcome. It will be 10:30 p.m. That's when the webinar happens. I signed up. Where can I watch it? Tomorrow. Don't worry about it. If I have your email, you'll get the right time and everything in the email. I'll send you multiple emails tomorrow reminding you about the webinar. Everybody who's here, if you're still here, click on that link and sign up for that webinar. I want to see you there. Happens tomorrow. You learn skills of landing a client, creating apps. What can you do to get a job really fast? How can you go about building your portfolio? All those things and more. The differences between broke programmers versus profitable programmers. And I'll give you a hint. It's not experience or skills. So if you want to kind of learn more about it and even use my exact blueprint for how I learned all this stuff, got it. And if you want to just steal that, show up to the webinar tomorrow. All right. Please explain APIs. Meister Warther, good question. APIs, application programming interfaces. How should I explain it? Let's say you want to use the power of entire Google in your app. Well, you could write all the code that Google has. So you can try to create your own Google Maps. That'll be really complicated to use in your own web app. It would take you a long time to create your own search engine and to create your own entire, Google Maps. You'll need to buy satellites and data centers and spend billions of dollars. Or you can use the Google APIs, and then that just allows you to use Google Maps, all of that code and everything, into your own app. So for example, Yelp uses Google's API. So when you look up a map in Yelp.com, they didn't create the map. They didn't spend years and years and years of hard work creating it from scratch. They just use Google's API and you get all those results. Okay, so that's really what APIs do. It lets you just steal code or build on the shoulders of giants. Think of it like that. Is Python better to land a job than learning C#? No, there's no such thing. There's job opportunities for both. I say Python because Python focuses more on making you speedy and making you more productive, the developer, rather than C#, which focuses on making your code faster and more productive. My personal preference is Python. But if you're already down the path on a specific language, there's no reason to switch. Just focus on skills of getting better at jobs, interviews, getting jobs, things like that. Those soft skills. But there's no one language that's better or best than everybody else. It comes to a preference, ultimately. Okay. So I'm going to take last questions, and then I am going to run because I got to start preparing for the giant event tomorrow, which is going to be pretty exciting. Woo! I always get this adrenaline rush before coming on the camera, and then once I'm here with you guys make me feel so calm and comfortable with your questions, and you start talking. When you guys don't ask me questions and I have no questions, I'm kind of worried. I always get a little bit, not nervous, but I'm just thinking what am I going to talk about now? But then when you guys have questions, I'm like, oh, cool. All right. Every time I blank out, I literally just go to one of your guys' questions. It's such a simple trick. It's awesome. Oh, wow, Rob, that's a pretty deep question. My YouTube, don't worry about my YouTube link. Just type in Clever Programmer on YouTube, and literally it's the channel that's growing the fastest, and it'll probably take over some really big channels soon. Like, we started from 0 to 50,000 subscribers because of you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, you'll find it. Just type in Clever Programmer or even my name, but you guys don't know. My name is Rafe Kazi. Rafe Kazi. I go by my last name, Kazi, and I go mostly by Kazi from Clever Programmer. Okay? Kazi, like kamikaze. Okay? Ram asks, haha, nice. Ram asks, do you have a girlfriend? Is that what contributes to higher salary? I don't have a girlfriend right now, but yes, the ability to have a girlfriend does contribute to a higher salary, because it means that you're somebody who people like to get along with. So there you go. Okay, now I'm going to answer the question, will the constant use of a framework decrease your programming skills since a lot of it is automated? Beautiful question. Love that question. Really great question. So basically he's saying, like, if you use lots of crutches, does that limit your skill? To a certain extent, and that's why people who want to teach you, and when you're learning, we try to tell you, like, hey, don't use all these big things that kind of take care of you and handhold you. Do it yourself. And once you understand how to do it yourself, then use these big frameworks and these big technologies. In the start, I tell you, don't even use an IDE, because you don't know how to then use the command line and terminal, which is very important. Only switch over to an IDE, which is an integrated development environment, once you have that skill set and you actually understand how everything is working. Then you should use it. So frameworks, yes, they can do that to a certain extent. But when you're learning, try to do most things from scratch, okay? And then start switching over to doing them from the framework. Great question, Rob. Should you use mathematics? Should you practice mathematics more to be able to create complexer applications? So like basically more complex applications. You don't really need math. So these are some of the big myths that I debunk in more detail tomorrow. Do I need more math? Do I need to be smarter? Am I too old for this shit? Am I too old to do computer programming? We get into more depth on that because those are very important, and they can have a big impact on your career. But to answer to you right now, more math? No, unless you're going to a specific field, then yes, it'll help you more. But will it stop you and it will make it hard for you to become a programmer? Absolutely not. If anything, I should be a good example of that. I'm not a good mathematician at all. And yet I was able to create very complex applications, because the beauty in coding is that you build on top of already a lot of existing stuff. So when you need to do something with a lot of complexity, you can, a lot of the times, use stuff that people have already built. So when I have to do stuff with, when I do machine learning stuff, and when I do stuff that does image detection, and when I do stuff that can look at two different videos and automatically tell you the differences between each, or I do stuff that using Python creates an application where if you hold a ball in front of a camera, it tracks the camera. That's not me writing the math behind it. Somebody has already done that. I use their frameworks. I learn how to use those libraries, and then I do those applications or whatever. You still need to have the programming skills to put the pieces together and understand how everything works. If your programming skills suck, that is not a possibility for you. So I want to answer that question very firmly, that no, math is not required to become a developer or a programmer. Somebody wants to challenge me, go ahead. Okay, Luciano asks, certainly there are more profitable programming languages than others. Isn't it a clever idea to switch to a more profitable language? Yes. If you can catch a trend, switch to that earlier and be adaptable, it's a very, very smart idea. Don't be religious. These are, don't be like so close-minded. If you're a Java developer, like, no, Python, no. Or if you're a Python developer, to look down on every other language or every other tool or framework. Go where kind of the trend is, but don't let it distract you. So for example, if you're doing, let's say, C# and you already kind of have a job and you realize, and let's say you can make $70,000, $80,000, or $90,000 a year, and then you see that in Python you can get a job for $100,000, $110,000. Really think about if that switch is worth it, if that time spent is really worth to switch that. But now, if you're on the other hand, you're seeing a trend where C# is just getting dead and Python or some other language like JavaScript is just skyrocketing, then it's smart for you to start making that switch. Being adaptable pays off more than almost anything. My oldest brother is almost doing a job, where he's probably making $250,000 a year now. And one of the biggest thing that he did was always switch, very fast. If he saw a different technology, he would get that certification. So like my background, even he taught me, he helped me get my computer networking certification, CCNA. I then realized I didn't like computer networking, but that's a story for tomorrow. He basically told me, basically what he did that made him so profitable and so good and so marketable was his ability to adapt to new technologies, whereas other people, anytime something got obsolete, they would just kind of die off because they had 20 years of experience and they had like their ego in the way, and that kind of crushed them. So throw away your ego, just enjoy life. Learn something that you'll enjoy doing and love. And then if you need to make a switch because it helps your family more, or you can support others nearby you more, or you can just live a wonderful lifestyle, do whatever you want, that's a lot more important than a specific technology or a language. Okay, my beautiful people, I love you guys so freaking much. Oh, and if you guys want to get a book, get this book. Not my book, by the way. I know a lot of people always want to ask. Python Programming, great book, teaches you the basics. Somebody in the comments, please type in the name of it. It's called Python Programming by John Zell, so other people could see it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and watching. Thank you, Roman, for this opportunity to talk to these wonderful people. This is my first time on the I Love Programming channel. You guys had incredible questions. Let me know what I could have done better, or if you guys would like to know other things for next time so I can keep it in mind. In the meantime, guys, thank you everybody on YouTube for coming here. I love you guys, So I want to see you guys tomorrow, okay? Lots of big things happening tomorrow. I want to see you there. So in the meantime, sign up for that link. I want to have at least 500 people. So I'm going to go check right now and see how many people have signed up. So go sign up for that so you guys can see me tomorrow. And then I also will be sending you guys lots of valuable content. So when I make new videos, they're free. They come right to you amazing content. And even when I send you emails about new trends that are happening in the programming world or some new training programs that you guys could use that don't cost you a cent, all of that stuff I will also be sending you, free of cost to you. All right, so we have about 300 people who've signed up. That's awesome. We want to try to get more people. So in the meantime, guys, please sign up. I want to see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for being here and watching. And as always, I love your faces off, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And now the awkward part of being live. I have to actually close it in front of you. Finish. Bye, guys. Bye, Facebook. Finish. Not working. Finish. There we go. And let's call it a day on YouTube as well. Take care, guys. Thank you. Have a good one.